Welcome to the Makeup and Beauty Podcast, where we talk about all things makeup and beauty with a dash of fashion and pop culture. I'm your host, C. Michelle, and let's jump right into it. Hello, and welcome back to the Makeup and Beauty Podcast. I'm your host, C. Michelle, and I'm so happy that you have been tuning in every Tuesday to listen to new episodes on the Makeup and Beauty Podcast. Please make sure you leave a review or rate this podcast. It really helps us reach new listeners and it helps the show grow. I would greatly appreciate your love and support. If you can do that, I know on different platforms it may not allow you to, but if you're on Apple or Spotify, I believe that you can. And on any other platform, you can follow the podcast. So please do that and stay up to date when I post every Tuesday. But let's jump right in today's episode. We have a guest. Her name is Nia. Nia is the CEO of Oilee Media Agency, a social media agency for beauty and lifestyle brands based in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. She also is the founder of Oilee Skincare, made for you to embrace and take care of your oily, acne-prone skin. We have a great episode with her today. She's going to be talking about her brand and marketing and things that she has learned along her journey and some great tips for you along yours when you are a content creator, a brand creator. So definitely stay tuned for that. And let's jump into our first segment, which is the product of the week. Here recently, I have really been reaching for fragrances. It's maybe the spring and the summer that's approaching that makes me want to wear more fragrances because I'll be outdoors more. I don't know what it is, but there is a fragrance that has been on my radar, and it is by Burberry, and it is the Burberry Her Eau de Parfum. I have been absolutely loving this fragrance. It's very soft, it's very feminine, it's beautiful. A little goes a long way, like a spray or two when you're good and it lasts. So it's in the Gourmand family. It's the fruity Gourmand family. The top notes are red and dark berries. The middle notes are floral with a scent of jasmine, and the base is a sensual musk amber. I love amber and I love musk, so it makes sense why I love this so much. But it's a beautiful smelling fragrance. It comes in a plethora of sizes from the mini, and that's my jam. I like the mini things. Again, perfect for travel. Throw it in your purse for touch-ups for later if you need it. So it ranges from the mini size of $30 up to $158 for the 5 ounce. I really like the bottle and the design of the bottle because the nozzle is all the way over to the left and it just looks really cool. The neck of the bottle is gold. It has a soft pink cap, and then the inside liquid is a soft baby pink to match the cap. It has Burberry embossed across the glass bottle. Just beautiful packaging. This fragrance might be my go-to for the summer. Well, one of them. But anyway, Burberry used to make this fragrance called Burberry Weekend, which I still love. It smelled so good, and I used to wear that all the time in high school and college. Like, girl, I thought I was doing something, okay? But anywho, if you have a product that you're loving and want to share with the listeners on the Makeup and Beauty Podcast, send me an email at podcast@cmichellestyles.com, or you can send me the message over on Instagram at cmichellestyles and let me know what product you're loving and why you love it, and I will share it with the listeners on the podcast. e.l.f. has partnered with Dunkin' Donuts for a new collection. In this collection, there are 4 eyeshadow quads. So there's 12 eyeshadows total for $16. They have a Do Not Forget Putty Primer for $12, a coffee lip scrub for $6, Glazed for Days lip gloss set for $12, Strawberry Frosted Sprinkles Face Sponge for $9, or you could get the whole set, the classic Dunkin' Stack Vault, for $75. The collection is available on elf.com, but it's available in Ulta starting April 3rd. And it's such cute packaging. It's bright, it's fun. This would be a good collector's item piece. Speaking of what else is new in makeup, Fenty Beauty has come out with a new bronzer palette, which I did pick up because this is a dream for makeup artists to have a bronzing palette and a highlight palette all in one with varying shades that's just built in. It's perfect. It's $48 and it has all of her bronzers in there with some new highlighter colors that she has not released yet. This is a limited edition item and it's called the Sun Stalker Face and Eye Bronzer and Highlighter Palette. I picked it up during the Sephora VIB sale. Haul coming soon. So if you want to see it, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. The link will be below in the show notes. But here's what it says about it on FentyBeauty.com. A limited edition face and eye bronzer and highlighter palette designed to be your new daily go-to. The Sunstalker bronzer you already know and love, plus 2 new very wearable, never before seen highlighter shades are all together in one palette. Get your face and eye dimensions anywhere, anytime. Also, it says, the intention is to create dimension instantly. You can now bronze, define, and glow in just one palette with shades that were designed to flatter and bring all the skin tones to life with an instant sun-soaked glow. The warm contour shades and ultra-wearable palette-exclusive highlighter shades allow you to create any kind of look you want, from natural, no makeup, to multi-dimensional, next-level definition. So the bronzers are long wearing, transfer resistant, super smooth, creamy powder formula, light as air buildable, soft matte finish that lets skin look like skin, backed by mango and papaya fruit extracts to help give skin a natural glow, healthy looking glow. I have the Caramel Cutie bronzer and I really do love it. It mimics skin and it looks like you have a natural looking contour. The highlighter is a lustrous radiance for face and eyes, sheer, non-cakey finish, silky smooth, lightweight texture, buildable and easy to blend, can be worn alone or layered over bronzer. And it's 100% cruelty free. Yeah, so I picked that up, and if I like it, I will get another one for my kit. I typically do not mix the two. I have makeup for me and I have makeup that's in my kit. I know these brands be making bank off me because look, one for the other. That way I don't have to just constantly dig in my kit to pull things out and then forget it when I'm on set or something. No, the bag stays packed. The bag stays set. She gets her own, okay? I don't even know how to talk about this. This is so shocking and just, it's just so scary to me. But we have recently lost a makeup legend. Native Detroiter AJ Crimson has gone on to glory, and it's just so shocking, like devastating, right? Like, how did it happen? I don't know, but I'm praying for his family. I'm praying for anyone that knew him. I mean, just the tributes that are going out to him. I mean, he seemed like he was such an amazing person. I had never met him, but I hate to hear that a young man that has accomplished so much has gone on. He had a makeup line. He was one of the first people to come out with their own makeup line back in I think 2012, to have a wide array of shade ranges for people. Like, he's truly a pioneer in what he has done for the beauty community. And, he's a celebrity makeup artist. He was just coming out with some new vegan brushes. It's just... I'm praying for his family. I'm praying for those around him that knew him. And I'm just praying for peace. Hello, Nia, and welcome to the Makeup and Beauty Podcast. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So tell everyone about yourself.
Absolutely. So my name's Nia Lee. I am 26 years old. I'm from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So all the way here in the Great White North. And I have just always had a huge passion for beauty, especially when I was think around like 2006 when like Anastasia Dip Brow became like this like really big movement. I remember that was like the first ever product I ever bought, and I was like $56, but that's Sephora. I learned early.
Mm-hmm.
And through there, just being into beauty, working for some really dope brands. I've worked for NYX, I've worked for Bite, I worked for Decium for a little bit, and just some really dope brands. And then going to school for communications, marketing, all that kind of stuff, realizing that wasn't really always the industry I wanted to be in, at least traditionally, and then kind of decided to carve my own path in the marketing, communications, social media, beauty world. And through that, through me being passionate about both of those things, I've allowed to just like have opportunities to like work with certain brands who have just been awesome in the beauty space and just honestly really notable in the beauty space, but then also being able to flex my creativity on the social media side of it all. And that's like the Cliff Notes version. As I was supposed to go all the way down, it'd be longer than this, but it's really just been a journey, and I'm just like riding it all the way out and see where it takes me.
So when you worked for NYX and Bite, what exactly did you do for them?
Yeah, so I was around, I feel like I was like 18, 19 around that time. So obviously it was mostly customer service, but what was really dope about NYX was it was this was NYX Professional Makeup Canada. And so this is when they were
Mm.
bringing it over to Canada. It was in a mall. That was honestly the best opportunity for me to step outside of my creativity, because I was into makeup and I had been experimenting a little bit, but NYX really was the opportunity for me to like start really experimenting, so much so that like I wanted to go the makeup artist, beauty guru route at one point in my life. And so that was really what I was doing there. And then when I was at Bite, it was same deal, same kind of like customer service world, but I was working at the lip lab. So if you are aware of the Bite lip labs, you go there, people make the lipstick. It's this whole, immersive experience. For me, as somebody who was working behind the counter, it was fun for like one or two, but then I was like, this is a lot of work. This is a lot of time and energy. But again, I got to learn about this brand, their oranges, because their origins, because they're a Canadian owned brand. And then the founder actually sold the brand eventually, and then they got into Sephora and everything. But what I really appreciated with that brand was that I learned a lot about ingredients. I learned a lot about, quality products, what makes a natural product the way it is versus like a synthetic product. And then actually when I worked for Decium, that was honestly probably my first like fully immersing into the skincare, but also like really sciencey, really focused on, I learned more about ingredients and what things work versus what don't, or how you can, use certain products with this. Like I learned so much education wise there, because they were really big on education. And so every opportunity I've got to work with a beauty company or, a huge beauty brand, it's allowed me just to learn a lot of things and soak things up. And this was honestly off of the top of the back of the companies as well too, really kind of stressing that education. And as long as we were willing to try certain things, which I really loved about it, everywhere that I worked, they gave employees like a sizable discount or opportunities to like try out products, so we could become so familiar with things, so that if someone's asking us a verbatim question, I'm telling them straight up, hey, I've used this and I've loved it, or I know I used this and it didn't work for me, depending on like what their issues were with their skin, or what they were kind of dealing with. So all of those makeup and beauty opportunities that I got, even though they were kind of like more so on the customer service side of thing, it really allowed me to just like educate myself, but then also like connect with the people as much as I could.
Speaking of skincare, you have a skincare line, is that correct?
Yeah, so we started Oilee Skincare, which is my beauty brand / community. And I call it that because it's really more than just like product. Like the
Mhm.
idea of, we created the first ever subscription box for oily acne prone skin, where you get 5 full-size products of skincare for your oily acne prone skin from small indie and POC owned brands. And
Okay.
I said to myself that I really wanted to start a brand, but not necessarily off of the back of the foundation of a product. Like I think
Mm.
more so than anything, I think the industry has changed, where people are not necessarily looking to buy products. They're really looking to buy into people and buy into companies and buy into their overall, like how a company really is, right? Are they inclusive? Are they diverse enough? Do they have a message? Are they helping out charity? Like all of these like those fundamentals of really building like, something that can last versus like a product, because products come and go. Like we see celebrities, launching beauty brands left, right, and center.
Mhm.
And it's not necessarily about the product per se. It's about what does this brand actually actually care about? What is their mission? What is their value? So I said I wanted to start this thing as a movement of kind of shifting the narrative, how the industry looks at oily, acne prone skin, because I have oily, acne prone skin. I've had it for quite some time now. And I always used to feel so bad about it. Like I always used to feel ashamed. I always used to feel like, oh, this, I don't
Really?
fit.
Why?
Well, like, again, back in 2006, 2007, 2008, where, beauty and YouTubers and all that world started really exploding. I remember like having oily skin, or like this whole dewy, glowy
People
movement.
weren't like talking about
It
it
was,
like
yeah,
that.
it
was
wasn't,
matte.
it was all matte all day. And I know you remember, because like, if you were really in it, what the look that they were pushing. And that look was matte. How do we powder down? Milk of magnesia, people were using that as primer. Like we were in a matte era. So as someone like myself with oily, acne prone skin wanting that matte look, I would have my oil seep out, and I would use products that would completely dry out my skin, and I'd be more oily, more self-conscious. So it was so much of that I was dealing with. And
I remember back then too, were like those Boscia blotting sheets and like all of those blotting sheets trying to stop your oil. But people don't realize that having oily skin is such a blessing, because that really helps you prevent like early signs of aging. Like I'm very glad to have my oily skin.
Exactly. Same here. But when you're 18 or 16 or 17,
I get you.
Yeah. You don't really know that. And that's why I say the brand is really about community, because I really want to bring that group of, young Gen Z kids that are growing up in this era. Now they're a lot more accepting, this whole movement's here, but I really, there are still people who are self-conscious about it or feel ashamed about it or so on. So that's why I wanted to create it, to shift that narrative, to really bring that conversation, to really make us the standard, and then have this really dope box that like allows us to put you on to some really dope brands who create products for your skin type, because that's the other catalyst to it.
So give me your top 3 products you're loving right now that are in your brand.
Absolutely. So we actually just recently finished up the subscriptions for our April box. And so we have a quarterly subscription box that we put out, new brands, new products every time. So out of that box, I mean, honestly, I do say I love all the products equally, but the ones that have really stand out for me are the Element. Actually, I'm looking at the box right now, so I'll just show you the product. So this is the Element face and skin spray. So the main ingredient in this product is hypochlorous acid, which is very new to the skincare world, and not a lot of people are talking about it, but Tower 28 Beauty has a hypochlorous acid SOS spray that's like pretty much so that's essentially, this is essentially that, but there's no other, like, it's literally, there's like 3 ingredients in it. It's like hypochlorous acid, chlorine, like water, and like something else. Like, it's really stripped back. It's also really affordable. They're a Canadian, Toronto owned brand as well. So shout out to Element.
So you mist it on and just leave it, and then it sets.
Exactly. So the good thing about hypochlorous acid is actually something that our body actually creates. So what it actually does is it fights off like any, bacteria or anything like that, like inside our bodies. But when you're using it in like a topical spray, it does pretty much the same thing. So it helps with bacteria. It helps with any wound healing as well too. So if you're someone like myself who has, let's just say you popped a pimple or something like that, and you kind of want it to heal up, and you don't want to use something topical like a benzol or whatever, you spray that on, and it actually kind of speeds up that wound healing and also helps with the bacteria. So, and it's also really good for preventing maskne. So I actually spray it in my mask as well too. Great preventative measure as well. So I love that
smell.
So it does have a little bit of a mild chlorine scent to it, but it's not anything that sticks on to the skin. Like once you kind of spray it on, like within like less than 10 seconds, it's gone. Like it's really just like the initial kind of hit, but love that product. That's definitely a standout for me. The other one that I really, really love is the Province Apothecary. So Province Apothecary is a huge brand here in Canada. Like I was actually shocked when they reached out to me and said that they wanted to be in the box, because we actually got featured in Beauty Independent like really early on.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It was crazy. Like we didn't have a box or anything yet, but they reached out. And so Province reached out after that article, and they were like, we love what you're doing. We love what you're doing. We want to be featured. So they, we have their Clear Skin Advanced Spot Concentrate in it. And it's essentially like a little tiny oil vial here. A little goes a long way. What I love doing is I love whenever, like, let's just say I properly pop a pimple, because you can, like, this whole idea that you can't pop pimples is kind of insane. Cause like, you shouldn't pick at something if it's not fully at a whitehead, but if it is a whitehead, you can kind of, safely get the dirt out. And then what I
always just turn mine into moles.
Yeah. And then,
if they're placed in the right spot, I turn it into a mole. If they're placed
in the right spot. If you're like me, I break out like middle forehead. Like
I'm always down here.
Yeah, no, it's like I'm always breaking out in like the worst places, like places where I contour, like it's always like little things like that. But
Gotcha.
what I do love about this is this has been like a savior in the sense of like, you know, when you do pop a pimple or you do have something there, or maybe you
Hmm.
have something coming to the surface and you're like, that hurts, it's painful, I feel it, or I want to kind of speed up that process of healing. I put this on it and literally the next day, it's like the healing process has already begun, or the thing that was underneath my skin last night is actually now coming to the surface. So love about this, it speeds it up and it really heals as well too, and it also helps with scarring. So if you're like me,
Awesome.
again, you have, you know, medium to dark skin, scarring is the name of the game. So this
Hmm.
guy is awesome. And then last but not least, this is again another brand who had reached out to us to want to be in our box, Dermala. So they are essentially a brand that focuses a lot on like acne and really wanting to heal the skin and really wanting to use, you know, probiotics. So
Hmm.
there's probiotics and postbiotics in this cream. Very lightweight. I don't ever use moisturizers. Like I stopped using moisturizers a long time ago because I always felt like they made me look greasy. So I actually started using oils and I liked how facial oils were making my skin feel. But this changed the game for me. Like it's literally, it has this really nice pump. So little, you know, as much as the pump pumps, that's as much as you need. Very lightweight, fast absorbing, has niacinamide in it, has just so many other great ingredients that are great for just like helping the skin heal and be healthy. Because that's the other catalyst to what I want this box to be, and what I want people to know is that this idea of perfect skin, flawless skin, you know, you have no blemishes or whatever, like we can shift that, because if
Hmm.
your skin is healthy, that means it's healing, that means it's doing what it needs to do. The products in this box, there's 5 of them, like I said, they really have changed the game for me in terms of like doing my skincare consistently, because
Hmm.
that was the other thing. It was like I've had people who say to me like, listen, I was using Cetaphil and like a cheap Vaseline lotion after this. Like I had no routine, I had nothing
Yeah.
in place, and so this box is like giving them that routine now that they can stick to it consistently.
So, what are your top ingredients that you look for when it comes to skincare or just, products in general?
Yeah, so I love this question because, like, you know, I again have been using skincare for such a long time now. Like, I personally love like ingredients that I possibly like never heard of before, but like are really good for the skin. So
Hmm.
like I remember what's an ingredient that I can probably speak to? I mean, like hypochlorous acid, I feel like is probably one of the newest ones where I
Hmm.
had no idea what it was, but as soon as I Googled it, I'm seeing articles that says like if you don't know what hypochlorous acid is, you need to be put onto that. So I love ingredients that I don't know, but I Google and find out that they're really dope. I also love, so again, because I have oily acne prone skin, you'll never find me using like just hyaluronic acid. Like I need
Mm.
products that have oily skin, acne, like acne prone skin fighting ingredients. So the
Okay, so let's break
salicylic.
that down some.
Yeah.
Hyaluronic acid, right? That is
Yeah.
like that, niacinamide, and like 50 others are the
Yeah.
things that people are talking about, and other topical things like retinoids, tretinoin, like so many things.
Right. Right.
Okay, so why not just hyaluronic acid when it comes to oily skin?
Well, not to say that you can't, but like for example, like what would be a great example? Okay, so maybe even this product here. So the same Dermala Oat So Sweet Moisturizer.
Hmm.
Um, this has hyaluronic acid in it, but it has the niacinamide. It has these pre and postbiotics. It has allotonin. It has all these ingredients in it that are great, that have so many other benefits. If this just had hyaluronic acid in it, you know, that's great, but I need other things that are great for the skin, that are going to help brighten the skin, that are going to help with dark spots and hyperpigmentation, that's going to help with the acne that's coming up. Like I can't just use one. And then, you know, again, working at Decium and you're like, oh yeah, like everyone's going crazy over the hyaluronic, you know, 2% plus B5. It's like, that's great, but I need things that have other properties in it that do more than just that basis. So I'll never ever just look for one product that has hyaluronic
Got it.
acid in it. It's gotta be more. But ingredients wise that I love, I mean, niacinamide, I know everyone talks about it, but for me,
Hmm.
again, learning about the origins of niacinamide and then also learning about all the benefits to it, you know, it's anti-aging, it's brightening, it does control your oil production. So I love niacinamide. That's always a great one. I guess I'll also talk about lactic acid. Lactic acid is probably one of my
Mm.
favorite acids out there. Again, when I worked at Decium, the 10% was like that was the one I was always picking. So that was always the best one for me. And then I will also
So, for
say,
those that don't know, what is lactic acid and what does it do?
oh
And what does
yes,
niacinamide do?
So yeah, niacinamide at its core, so it's vitamin B5. And
Mhm.
essentially when you are seeing it by yourself or it's in a product, know that it is helping with controlling oil production. So if you're someone who produces lots of oil and you're not looking for that greasy, shiny look every single day and you kind of want it to calm down a little bit, look for products that have niacinamide in it because it will help control that overproduction of oil. Because
Awesome.
essentially, when your skin is overproducing oil, it means that something's going on underneath. Like it's not getting enough hydration. It's actually dehydrated as well too. And you
Mm.
need to make sure that you are one using hydrating products for your skin first and foremost. And then on top of that, there ain't nothing wrong with using, products that have that niacinamide to help control the oil production. Because you want your oils to come through, but if it's too excessive and you're looking shiny and greasy and all that, unless you're like, I know some people who are intentionally trying to look like that now, but again,
Yeah.
10 years ago, that wasn't the vibe. So, so for me, I like my oils coming through, but I like it, just, at bay.
Hmm.
And then lactic acid is alpha hydroxy acid, or short
Hmm.
form for AHA. So it's a chemical exfoliant. So I feel like everyone's very familiar with the St. Ives apricot scrub. That's a physical
Yes.
exfoliant.
Yes.
I know there's this big debate about like you should never use physical exfoliants, are horrible for your skin. And I feel like even with our box, like I don't preach that.
Hmm.
I'm a huge advocate for charcoal masks. I'm a huge
Hmm.
advocate for scrubs that have fine
The
little,
Aztec clay. Yeah.
yeah, the Aztec clay, or even like masks that have like little dissolvable jojoba beads. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like there ain't nothing wrong with getting a little bit of that physical exfoliation, because let's be honest, those are really the products that are going to help get rid of those dead skin cells just as much as the chemicals do. The reason why people like the chemical more is because they're not dealing with the, if your skin's very sensitive and you don't really like that friction or that abrasion on the skin, then the chemical is always a great way to go as well.
True. But
And
then that's a healing process too with the chemicals. And it's a
exactly.
lot of extra things you have to do when you use it. But I understand people do it, people like it. So what
Yes.
about the hyaluronic acid? That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, so hyaluronic acid, I mean, it's people always say it attracts a thousand times its weight in water.
Hmm.
We in a sense have hyaluronic acid in us as well too. So what happens is as we age, that type of hyaluronic acid, that plumpness in the skin, that like youthful like plumpness, it starts to diminish, right? It's the reason
Yeah.
why we get wrinkles faster and so on and so forth. So essentially hyaluronic acid is meant to hydrate, because the skin itself, as much as we're made up of water and all that kind of stuff, we do need the same way you got to drink water. It's the
Hmm.
same way your skin, your face, and your body essentially needs that hydration as well too, so that essentially, it doesn't dry out or it doesn't, become dehydrated so much that your skin. Because what I love about skin is that if you don't give it what it needs, it actually starts to push out things that like aren't supposed to be there, or like it starts overcompensating itself for certain things. So you can always kind of tell when your skin's kind of running amok if,
Yeah, it has a way of letting you know.
yeah, if your skin's dehydrated or your skin barrier is messed up, like your skin will let you know either through a pimple, either through a scar, either through excessive oil production, that you got to do something. So hyaluronic acid essentially is this like essentially very like plump, almost like tacky liquid that like you use on your skin. It's typically like a first step for a lot of people. And
Hmm.
like I said, if you're using like a serum, like they're typically made in serums because you kind of need that kind of water based gel based section
Serum.
there.
Hmm.
And then yeah, and then you can kind of put thicker products on top of that, your oils, your creams, your SPF, and so on and so
Peter
forth.
Thomas Ross has an excellent moisturizer. It's the
Mhm.
Hyaluronic Cloud Cream. It's a very long name, but that's what I use. It's such a long name, but I use that before I put on makeup because it does like fill in like some of the lines and wrinkles and minimizes the look of
Exactly.
it. So I love hyaluronic acid. And I've been getting more into these things like niacinamide,
Yeah.
lactic acid, learning about, gosh, I hear a lot about retinoids and just all of these
Yes.
things. It's funny as you get older, you if you care to, you start to dig into these things a little bit. Like, I don't want to necessarily get the fillers or the Botox quite yet. Not opposed to it, but just not
Mm-hmm.
just don't want it at the moment. Maybe I can try these topical things to see how I can work it out and get it together. So let's dig into the business side of your skincare box. How does it necessarily work as far as reaching out to the brands? Do they say, okay, we'll give you so many we'll give you X product for X amount of dollars and then you resell? Like, what is kind of like the structure of someone who might be interested in curating their own box one day? Like, what would be some of the ways you would kind of advise them to do so?
Absolutely. So what I'll say is first and foremost, before you even go reaching out to brands and so on and so forth, really figure out, and I've read this off of like forums and certain things like that about, when you are starting a subscription box or any sort of product, try to figure out where it fits in the world of what it is that you're trying to do.
Find your niche.
Yeah, really find your niche. Like in the beauty industry, we all know people like to say it's oversaturated. And to some extent, I agree with that. But I just think like certain brands, we know the brands that hit versus the brands that don't, right? There's a reason why we revere Fenty Beauty and Fenty Skin versus like, a Peter Thomas Roth, for example. Like we love Peter Thomas Roth, but it's not always going to be the topic of conversation, unlike, when they had the whole viral, eye cream that went super duper crazy, right? But in a situation like that, we know the brands that really hit it. And it's because they create something so much or they disrupt the market so much that you really want to pay attention to them. So I will say, I'm really blessed and I'm really lucky that a lot of the brands that we have featured in it, we've only featured 2 boxes so far, but the brands that have reached out, like brands have reached out to me. I have not gone to these brands. Like I have not said, hey, come into our box. A lot of these brands, what I'll do is if I meet a founder, I follow somebody, I immediately try to get on a call with them and just get to connect with them, meet with them. And then in some way, shape or form, we end up talking about, possibly having them in the box. And what they'll do is they'll send me a sample of the product so I can try it out for a decent amount of time, typically, 3 to 4 weeks, maybe a month and a bit. And once I essentially say, yeah, I think this product would be a great fit, with all the other brands, we immediately go into negotiations, contracts. Once we kind of get that signed, we kind of come together with all the brands and we'll do like a kickoff call. And then we'll go into this month-long like marketing plan strategy that'll lead into the next month where people can actually subscribe. But I would say figure out that niche first, figure out how you're going to be in the industry, what it is that you want people to know you for. Like I said to myself, I wanted to create something that wasn't in the industry, but then also I wanted to create something that was really innovative. Like I Googled, I looked, I researched. I was like, there is no box on the market that particularly pertains to a skin type, let alone oily acne prone skin. But acne is also the #1 skin concern in the US. So, and you can have acne and also not have oily skin. That's the other conversation to it. You can have dry skin and acne prone skin. You can have combo skin and have acne. But I say our box honestly covers, even if you don't have oily acne prone skin, if you have combo skin, you could try out our box. Even if you have dry skin, because a lot of the products we have in our box are very hydrating for the skin, right? It's about recalibrating and rebalancing the skin. So I would say business wise, figure out that niche and then try to see how you can, put your brand out there, really starting to see if people actually care. Like again, before we started the subscription box, I just started the brand. I created the logo. I figured out the color scheme. Until this day, I don't even know how the color scheme even came to mind, but I knew I wanted it to.
Or is it just you?
It's just me. Yeah. It's just awesome. Me for now. And, I came up with everything, like I said, from the logo to our colors. Like I knew I wanted this to be colorful, over the top, unlike anything people have ever seen in the industry. Because when you talk about oily acne prone skin, every time it's so clinical, it's so beige. Like I find a lot of brands, I don't mind the brands that, their color palette's very neutral and beige, but like we see it all the time. And it's like, what can we do to disrupt? And then once you go from there, start reaching out to brands, following the brands that you think that would be a great fit in the box. I like dropping comments every now and again, if I see a product from a brand I love and say, I'll say, hey, is this product suitable for oily acne prone skin? And they'll let me know, they'll comment back. And then I might reach out or, I might follow them. And then slowly but surely I'll get a message every now and again that's like, I'll message them about something else. And then they'll say, hey, I think our product would be great in your box. And I'm like, okay, dope. Send me a sample and we'll go from there. And, it becomes a whole, connection and, everything's synergistic from that point.
It seems really cost effective as well. Like as far as startup costs. So I'm assuming like really the branding, the packaging and things will probably be some of your your biggest expenses. I'm not in your pockets, but I'm just trying to think like, how for someone who's interested in starting something like this, like what would be an amount, I guess, they should have to begin, like a good startup cost?
I would say like, try to figure out, like, I would say like, honestly, the way that I started Oilee, I think I might have, aside from like paying the brands money for product, because what I essentially do is once we get the subscription numbers in, I will send orders to the brand and say, hey, this is how many people subscribe. So this is actually how much product I need. So like, I'm not sitting here with a whole bunch of inventory that I can't sell. So it ends up being a collaborative process all throughout, because I'm not taking inventory out of a brand's pocket, especially because I'm working exclusively with small and indie POC owned brands. And I know like quantities is, you know, an important thing for them.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I say to them, you know, hey, this is how much product I need. They send that over. And then essentially I take care of everything from like packaging to sending to, you know, content to everything in relation to that. But I would say you probably wouldn't need more than like maybe $2 or $3 grand. And I will also say this, prior to doing this, and I still do it as well too, I have my own social media marketing agency where we work with beauty brands. So I already had the first box we launched, I knew pretty much all of those people I knew all those people. Like I had met them at networking events. We had been friends for some time now. And I came to them with my idea and they all agreed. So, and all the ladies, they were all, like I said, women of color owned brands, all of them in Canada. So like, everything was aligned that way. So I will say I had those relationships. So that's another thing as well too. Like if you're starting something, try to figure out who in your network you can connect with and try to figure out how you, like one of my really, really good friends is at a design co. She actually designed the look of my box, like the way that it looks, like, you know, with the logo and the inside. And, you know, and then even through the printing company, like I Googled this printing packaging company and found them, and they ended up being a godsend. And so, and like the first photos we ever did that actually were included in the Beauty Independent article that we had in December. One of my good friends, True, she shot those photos as well because she wanted to experiment. So really see who in your network, who you can kind of connect with to kind of like make things happen as well too. I'm really big on that.
That's huge. That's huge. Okay, so what will be the next step for your brand? Like, where do you see yourself in a couple years? Or where are you, you know, hoping to see yourself, or what do you want for your business?
Absolutely. So, you know, I would love, you know, with Oilee, we're honestly just getting started. We launched in September. And like I said, we put out our first box in December, or January box.
What's the price of the box?
Yeah. So the box is $99. Okay. And so, like I said, full-size products, 5 full-size products. You know, if you were going to buy all these products separately, it'd be upwards to like $200 you'd be spending separately. And then if you're thinking about it, the way that I always try to say it is like, if you go to Sephora, like you go to Sephora, pick up 2 products, it's like $100 already. So you've really got to look at it as like, what would you rather, a full routine or 1 or 2 products? You know what I mean? So like, but future wise, I would love to, you know, consistently work with some really just dope brands. Like, again, I had a huge brand like globally reach out to me recently just through my Shopify page. I had to reread the email again because I was like, this is not real. Like how? And then when I got
syndrome.
Well, not even that. Like I was just shocked because I didn't know that they knew that I was even on the radar. Like I was literally over here randomly on Instagram doing my thing, pumping out content, not expecting to see an email like that in my inbox. But, you know, I'm quick with that kind of stuff. I don't play around. So like I emailed them right away. We got on a call. I was like, how did you guys find me? And they told me who it was, and it all came together. So hopefully they'll be in our box for July, our summer box, which I'm really, really excited for. But that I would love to collaborate with more dope brands. We might actually have a partnership with another dope brand that's in Target and Ulta in June for Acne Awareness Month. So I'm really excited about that. It might be an in-person event. So definitely can't wait to share hopefully some details on that. And then I was talking to somebody recently about what's the future of the brand. And he kind of put this bug in my head about like starting our own brand. You know, we have a box that we feature of, you know, products and stuff like that. But he was like, have you ever thought about like maybe doing your own brand? And in the beginning, when I was launching Oilee, I was going to start out with my own product. I was going to do like a private label thing, you know, with Alibaba, but friends kind of talked me out of it and were like, I don't think you want to go that route. And then the subscription box came up. But I would definitely love to hopefully do that in the next, like, you know, 3 or 5 years and see where that takes us. Cause I think there's so much power in what is it that we're trying to say. And then like our brand as well too, like very colorful, very in your face, normalizing skincare being fun and embracing oily acne prone skin. So I think we could do some really dope stuff, but that's definitely down the line, I think we still have so much work to do. I think we still want to build the community more and more, because this is more about community than about product for me. Like I see Oilee being like, hopefully in schools, talking to teens, and I say, when I say Oilee, I mean me or our team, like really kind of saying like, hey, like I'm going to talk to you as if I was like, if I had this type of, talk when I was 16, 18, you know what I mean, who needed this kind of encouragement. Because I think the youth and the youngins, I have cousins who are like 17 and 14, like talking to them is so important, because what they hear really affects them growing older. So I'm like, I really want to talk to the young people. I really want to have our ears to the streets that way, so we can really create an impact community wise, so that whatever we do, box, products, whatever that may be, people are just excited about being in our aura all together.
So do you work full-time as well, and you're managing this?
Absolutely.
Also.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So how do you balance?
This is so my 9 to 5 is essentially funding Oilee through and through for right now, because I'm not going to front. I'm not the most profitable at this point, but I know I'm not going to see those type of profits until I really put in the work. And like I said, we've only been launched since September. So I know there's a lot of losses that we're going to take, but I'm building a lot of relationships with people. We are doing something in relation to, we've connected with a lot of people who just love what we've done, who've created content for us. So I know we're really in that, exposure growth phase right now. And so my 9 to 5, or my 9 to 6, as I like to say, is funding this. And so I work as a social media coordinator by day. And we work with tons of different brands and certain things like that. We actually have a beauty brand client right now that's going to launch in Sephora. So that's very exciting. But then I do this after, 6 o'clock, or I'll do this before I start work around like 7 or 8 o'clock as well. Wow. So, but I love it, and I'm really passionate about it. And I'm also really passionate about what it is that we're building. So to me,
wait, let me understand. So you are a full-time entrepreneur for your marketing?
No. So, so sorry. Yeah. I actually work for like an actual corporate agency.
Got you. Oh, yeah. Hey, if you had I'm like, go girl, do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you do that too, and that, I'm like, so you have 2 full-time businesses that you're operating. Okay.
No, yeah.
Now that okay.
Yeah, Oilee for sure is definitely something, it isn't my business. It's full-time. I call it my side hustle for now.
But it's full-time. I get it.
But in a way it is full-time. I mean, if you look at our page, you look at our website, like I have been going at it consistently for this time period. So I know there's so much to do. And people always ask me, they're like, how did you, are you sure it's just you? I'm like, yeah, it's just me. Like I am the face. I am the content creator. I am the copywriter. I am the team. I am all of that. But
you're the DE, do everything.
I do, I do everything right now. And you know what? I don't hate it, because at this point we're still so small, and we're doing, I can handle it for myself, but I have said in the past, it would be great to have like a partner. It'd be great to have somebody who can like help with the business side of things. Yeah. Like, you know what it is? Like, I'm really like, my zone of genius is marketing and like content. So I know I can do that without any problem. And I can also do the business side as well too. Like I have been doing that, but I would love to have somebody who fully has that, business acumen.
Like that's their ministry. Let people focus on what they're good at. Like you're good at that business side. Hey, you take over these things. I'm going to trust you. You do your thing and let me focus on what I'm good at. And I know that will come in time. It's hard when you bring people onto your business. I mean, myself included, it's hard to, because you just don't know. You just don't know. And it's like letting your baby in someone else's hands, hoping that they love it and respect it and will treat it the same way that you will. For some people, it's just a job. You're like, no, I need you to love this. Like I love it. I need you to be invested in this.
Absolutely. That's how I
feel. Be around for the long haul.
That's how I feel with everything. Like even with my own agency, I've had people on my team that we've hired out as well. And, you go through people who care, who want to be a part of this thing. And you have other people who just look at it as a job. But I say to myself, that's why, because I've been there and I've been through, great team members, bad team members. So with Oilee, because we are so new, and like I said, because I am building something that I honestly purely think is revolutionary in the industry.
Yeah.
Having anybody a part of the team, like you really have to have seen what I've been doing and really respect that and want to be a part of the growth rather than just to get on to cloud chase. Cause we've got some great partnerships coming up that are like, you would be shocked to know that we would be partnering with said brands. But I don't want you to be a part of this thing now that, you know, we've got a little bit of buzz or we've worked with so-and-so brand. Like, I want you to have seen the work we've been putting in, and whether, you know, even if you're new to the page or not, but see it, believe it, and then either want to assist by being on the team or capital or whatever that may be.
I think it's important too to know all facets of your own business.
Absolutely.
Because then you'll know, like, okay, well, this is how this should be done. I've done it before. Like, this isn't,
yes,
you know what I mean? Like, I understand things can change, things can evolve, but the fundamentals are still the same. Like, I've been there, done that. Don't try to fight me. So we're going to get into our rapid fire questions so folks can get to know a different side of you. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So if anyone could play you in a movie, who would it be?
You know, I'll say this, even though we don't look alike, but she's my namesake, Nia Lee.
Yes. Okay. If anyone in the world could do your makeup, who would you want to do your makeup?
Danessa Myricks.
Ooh.
Or Molly Magic.
I've never seen her profile, but you're the second person that I've had on this podcast that said they want her to do her makeup. And I'm like, I want to follow this person. I want to know who they are. Okay. So what is your favorite season?
Summer.
What is your favorite guilty pleasure snack?
Chips. Doritos.
Morning or night person?
Night.
What would be your go-to karaoke song?
Mario Let Me Love You.
Oh, I love that. And let's see, heels or flats?
I'll say wedges. I'll go the wedges route.
Look, that's still a form of a heel.
Still a form of a heel, but those stilettos with the thin, I won't do thin ever. I'll always do chunky or wedge.
Gotcha. What social media platform are you loving right now?
YouTube.
Really?
I love YouTube. YouTube is my playground. Like, YouTube is where I can be free. I can watch the content creators I watch. I'll chime in the comments if I want to. I get the most entertainment on there. Like, I look at Instagram as strictly a business platform. Like, I look at Instagram as business, relationships, how I'm making my, I'm making my coins, how am I, trying to turn a little follower relationship to an actual in-person connection. So we can hopefully be beneficial to each other. But if I'm looking at like entertainment, really kind of getting in my bag, because it's a plethora of content that I love. I love the Black commentary channels. I love the drama. I love the tea. I love the movie reviews. I love all that. I can get everything I need on YouTube.
That's awesome. Okay. And last question. Okay, two more. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
And last question. What product can you not live without?
Laura Mercier translucent powder.
Oh, yes, Laura Mercier. So tell the folks where they can find you.
Absolutely. So if you want to connect with me agency-wise and also beauty-wise for any, interesting marketing content, social media, kind of takedowns or discoveries or whatnot, you can follow me at Socially Savvy Nia. If you want to follow my awesome beauty brand and community, you can follow at Oilee Skincare, but Oilee spelled Oilee because my last name is Lee, so play on words. And that's pretty much me. Those are the two social media platforms I'm repping right now.
Thank you so much for listening today. I hope you were inspired by Nia. I hope that you come back and listen next Tuesday for more from the Makeup and Beauty Podcast. Thank you for joining me on the Makeup and Beauty Podcast. I'm so happy to have you. And please, while you're here, stay a while, hang out and listen to some other episodes. I have some great episodes before this one. Please leave the podcast a review and rate it. It really helps the podcast grow and reach new listeners. Also, if you want to be informed on all things fashion and beauty weekly, sign up for the It List. That is my email listserv that I send out once a week with all the happenings going on in beauty and fashion. You can find me everywhere on every social media platform from Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Clubhouse, all of them at C. Michelle Styles. My website is www.cmichellestyles.com. Thank you so much for joining me for Beauty and Community, and until next time, adios. Besos.